So in today's class, we'll discuss about HTTP methods, the day 4. Now let's wait for others to join, or we are getting late to start the class. Okay, shall we? So when we send request to the server, within the request we send some methods, right? So these methods actually defines how client interact with a resource on that server. Let's say that this is a here we have the server. Now user request one thing, right? The request now using the methods, the user action defined in the server. The basis of that server respond to the. So we have different methods HTTP, and we can use that method. Fine, let's learn that method. So first we have get, then we have post, head. Now let's understand what. So get is used when we ask a specific resource from a server, or when we ask some specific parameter pages. And for example, whenever we type any website, right, we have something called this website get this, then we have the HTTP. Now this means what? We are asking, we are requesting server to provide us this file. So this is the root file. Okay, this is the root page. We have basic information about it, and server respond based on this thing. Similarly, we have post request and head. Now post is used when we want to send the data. Let's say we have a user login form. This is a login form and you fill your username, password and data here. Now if you send this data, if you click submit button, it directly send this data using a post method. Okay, similarly we have head. This is also a header. So if you want to check all the headers, then simply type head and show you all the related headers that we have in server. Is that clear? Now here is an example. So this is just an example how HTTP methods look like. Here we have HTTP and 1.1, and this is 22, right? That server responds with these codes. Got it? Confusion? Now similarly we have other methods: put, delete, option and patch. Let's say if you want to update your username, right, you simply go in website, you change your username and click update button. Now behind the scene what happened is, when you send that request, HTTP sends a put request to the server, and server understand, okay, here we have the put request. That means I have to update these values, update item, update username, update contact number, like this. Got it? Similarly, if you delete something from your account, HTTP sends a delete request to server, and on the basis of request, server can identify what action do I have to perform. Got it? Similarly, we have options and patch. Now, if you want to check what method server accepts, you can simply check it using the option method. And if you want to update some part of the data, you can use patch. Okay, so patch and put both are relatable. Got it? But they use differently. Put, if you do put, it will update the whole data. If you put patch, it update the part of a data. Is that clear? Any doubt here? Curve, always. Now, so we have sent these methods with our request. Now, how does server respond to this method? Anyone, any idea? Any idea how does server responds? Hello, anyone? Am I audible? Yes. So, do you know? Okay. So, on the basis of these actions, right, server responds with the help of response code. So, we have some response code, right? And server respond with that response code. And on the basis of that response code, browser identifies whether they have to provide this thing or not, right? So let's talk about response code. So here we have the response code. These codes indicates the status of request. Let's say if I want to send a delete request to some data, I want to delete some request, right? I want to delete some data, but I'm not authorized to delete it. In that case, how does the server denies? So server denies using these numbers. So these numbers are called response code. Okay, now let's learn what is response. As I told, this identify the status of a request. So we have range of this number code starting from 1 to 500. Now let's understand what it is. So 100 simply means that it is a informational response code, right? It simply means that the initial part of the request was received and the client should continue sending rest of the data. Let's say this is a data, and in internet data don't directly go at once, right? If it is a long data, it has to go in different parts. So this 100 confirms that, okay, I received this part of data, you can send other part of data. So 100 defines this. Now we have the 200. So it indicates that, okay, whatever you request or whatever you ask to me, I'm going to provide it. So it simply says that, okay, successful request. If I visit google.com, so google.com sends me 200. Okay, that is successful request because I can simply access the google.com, right? But I cannot access your Facebook page. I cannot access your Facebook user account. Why? Because I don't have the proper credentials. In that case, it simply denies. Now, as we already know, in our website we have some security headers like HSTS that redirect us from HTTP to HTTPS, right? So for redirection, you'll see this thing 300. It simply redirect client to a different URL. So if we try to access this website, using 300, it directly redirects here. Got it? So what is the difference? Only the URL, right? Rest is same, but only we have the URL. The scheme is different. So it redirects with this. Similarly, if you have other data, or if you after login, if you redirect to dashboard page, so it redirects with this. So server responds with this. Got it? and we can find some bugs here. When at the time it redirecting, we can find some bugs here. So we'll learn this thing also in future. Now we have two errors. One is 400 and one is 500. When uh, before we move, I just want to ask, do you have any question here? Okay, Ovis, okay, okay. So we have 400 and we have 500. Now, if the requested thing is not available in the database, then in that case, server responds with 400, 404, not found, 403, you are not authorized, forbidden, right? And if you send something that server don't handle, or that server can't handle, can't process, in that case, server responds with 500, internal server error. Got it? So this is how server responds with response code. Now here is the common example. 200, okay, request successful, resource is returned. 302, found, resource has moved to any other location. Client should request the new URL. 400, bad request, malformed request, server can't process it. We have the 403, that is forbidden, access to the resource is denied. Let's say you are a user and if you want to access the admin page, but that is denied, right? So in that case, server send this request. 404, page not found. If you are using Facebook and in Facebook you search NASA's database, right? In that case, obviously, Facebook shows what? Facebook shows what? Requested resource does not exist, right? Similarly, we have 500. If you search the things that the database or the server not able to process it, you'll see the error. And here we have the summaries. So let's short it. HTTP methods determines how request made, while the response code shows how outcome of this request are come. So methods include get, post, put, delete, and others, while the response code range from informational to error status, starting from 100 to 500. Is that clear? Now, let's do a lab then. Let's understand this thing lab. Now, before we conclude, let's do some practical. So, let me open the website. Can you tell me the IP? 83.1 dot 5412. Is that okay? Acha, there we have one S. Okay, okay, yeah, perfect. Now, This is the example.com, right? We got a web page. Now, if I want, if I use the V, that is the verbose option, that we can simply check that. The first, what, yeah, this is the response, and this is request. So this is our website, and when we request our website, HTTP headers are here. This is what HTTP, this is how it looks. So first it sends get, right? And this slash means a home directory or root directory where our HTML index.html files are stored. Got it? And now server replies that okay, this request or this files is available, right? And here is the content of that file. Inside that we have this file. Server and browser render this file and show us the beautiful website. Got it? This is how it happens. So we can simply use curl to view this. So far clear? No doubt, right? Now let's consider this website. Here we have the website. Let's first not log in. There is any, what is the IP? Garv, what is the IP? 83800. Now here we have one website. Carefully analyze this website. Left click. Let's carefully analyze it. What request it is using. First we private. Now when we open the website now, it shows the login page. Got it? Now this login page is totally different what we have seen, right, in our day-to-day life. This is a very different login page. Got it? Why it is different? Because it is not the traditional login page. It is what? Not the traditional login page. It is HTTP based authentic login page. Now let's understand. So now we know that if we hit any URL, our first and by default it sends the get request, right? So oh, so I now is visible. So let's understand. uh, Whenever we send request, right, whenever we try to access a website, by default it sends a get request. Got it? And we know how to track the request, right? We can simply go in developer tools and we can view the network settings, right? And we can simply, if we reload the website, we'll got to know that okay, what request the website is sending. Is that clear? Now we have authentication. Whenever we have login page, we have different type of authentication mechanism, right? The first one here we have is this is this is also authentic, but it is not so modern authentic mechanism like we use in our today's website. So but we have this authentication. So by default HTTP provide us base authentication. So this is the HTTP authentication. Got it? And just remember, it is implemented in the server, not in the website, because we are here in this URL, right? And we want to access that website, but it says that okay, if you want to access website or if you want to access the content inside the website, you have to log in, you have to provide your authentication or credentials. Got it? But this is not happen in websites where we have different type of login, where we have the form login, right? So we have two types of login. One is the HTTP basic authentication login and one is form login. Is that clear? In form login, you can still access the website, but you have to log in order to see other content. But in HTTP authentication, you cannot see the website. You have to first identify yourself. So this is called base authentication. Now, if we want to log in, we have to simply provide credential. Then only we'll see the content of this. So here, let me again switch. So here, see, after login, we'll see this content, right? So after login, we are inside the website, and yeah, inside website we have this thing. After our website, we this thing. Now after login, we have this type of screen. Now we can send the username and password using curl. Here, if I use this thing, as I don't have the credential, right? If I use this thing, it simply the web server simply tells me that 401 authorization required. It simply means that we have to, or I have to perform, or I have to provide the authentication in order to process this request. Since I don't have username and password, I'm not able to log in. But using curl, if we have the credential, we can simply log in. So here we have the curl -u. So here we can simply provide the username and our web server along with our port. Now if this is correct, it will proceed. Otherwise, it says access denied. Got it? Now we can, in our website, we can simply type username, password. That is admin, right? Admin. Just hit sign in. We are in. We are inside the website. We have this search function. If we want to do the same thing in curl, we can simply do it. In our first class, we have seen how to do it. So type admin @admin and then our website. If we hit enter, most probably will logged in. So let's could not resolve. Okay, just a mistake here. Admin colon, and here we have the at the rate sign. So this is how we can log in, right? If I open the same website here, I'm still able to log in. Able to log in. Why? Because I simply send my username and password in headers or in URLs, right? So it is possible to send it. Got it? Now, if we closely look at the time of login, what we have, if we closely look, we'll see this. So this is the request, right? And inside request, user or the browser asks, okay, I want the main page. This is a website, and this is the authentication. Server responds that okay. Server responds that okay, I'll provide you that thing, and yeah, on the basis of this, server actually validates that we are authentic or not. Is that clear? And any question here? Now this is called authorization header. If we decrypt the value, so this is a base 64 value. If we decode it, we'll see the same thing. We'll see the same thing. That is our username and password. That is admin, and it is encoded in base 64. That is why this authentication is called HTTP base authentication, because it use base 64 to encode the credential, and this authentication is used in HTTP. But now things are changed, times are changed, and we are using HTTPS. We are using more advanced login pages, but still it is used. Got it? Here, if we search anything, it sends some request, right? And here we have the options. Now, is it possible for us to analyze the request? Yeah, let's in page, go in network tab, reload the page, and let's try to search again. So in that case, I type Apple. If I hit enter, you can see that is actually searching this, but we didn't see anything. We didn't see what it is using, how it is searching. Now let's click on this, try to copy this, and let's try to search it again. Again, don't see anything. So what do you think? What is the problem? Why we not what it is searching? Hmm. So if we made any request, then it right. But here it's not showing. Why? Okay. So we have to figure it out why it is not here. So just analyze the header request. Do the same thing. This one or this one, and this is the favicon. Now we have the search bar. Let's try to search some state or country. If we search it again, this, so it is actually giving us the country, how the request server, right? So if we don't know how the request is, cannot we cannot identify or modify this thing. Got it? We have to find it. Again, do the same thing here. Paste it. It asks, yeah, it will ask the username and again in tab, reload. Here we have in the same, we search user, hit enter. Now let's, it made a request, right? Here it made a request. Got it? And it is sending get request. So here we have the URL. So it is saying that, okay, get this URL and search for this term, that is you. Now we can search the same thing using curl, right? Copy this. This is our curl. What you think? Will it going to proceed or will it going to give us the error? Let's do this. So it shows access denied. Why? Yeah, we have to put the password. So yeah, we have to provide the username and password. Let's with admin admin at, okay. Again, we hit enter. We'll see nothing. Why? Because it don't show. Now let's understand. Let's click this again and click it. Now this time we search we search about London because it is country name London. Hit enter. So it shows some options, right? Here it send this request, and on the basis of this request, server responders. If we do the same thing in curl of user, it shows us the result, right? Got it? So using curl, we have successfully made a request. We are able to search what we want. And you just have to remember that whenever you see search option in website, you have to analyze that request. You have to find the parameter. In this case, this is the parameter search.php. This is the page, and this page is totally responsible for searching the items, right? And here we have the parameter. The parameter is this search, and here we have the value. Got it? Now we can search anything that we have in search. Now let's come back. So we have understand the basic authentication. We have understand the authorization, and we have understand how authorization should look. So this is the authorization. Got it? Now let's understand how we can define headers. So in this case, if I want to look, so here I have the authorization header. Now in my curl, I don't want to give the password. Now what do you think? Will it provide me the details or not? Yes, it is will, right? So to overcome this, since server is identifying us by the authentication, what we can do is let's copy this authentication header, paste it here. Now, what do you think? What will happen? We hit enter. That is the basic step. So it it gives the error access. Why it gives the error? Because we have sent the header, right? But after header we have this hyphen v. So to overcome this, you have to do this. You have to make sure it comes in a double quote. Again, if we do this, we'll see that okay, we have the London here. So we can simply identify that acha, it is sending the is actually verifying user request based on the headers, right? Based on the this authentication header or authorization. Got it? Now we know how to send the header. Now we know how to send request, right? How to search it using curl. In tomorrow's class, so into yeah, tomorrow's class, tomorrow's class will learn how to send different request method, how to manipulate this request. Now let's understand. Can I Do we have any option to add our own city here, own state here? No, right? But in today's class, we have seen that server is identifying each and everything on the on basis of what? On basis of what? On basis of request methods, right? We have the HTTP method. The basis of method server provides us the response. But what if we use this method, update the entry to delete the entry, right? We have to check whether server is provide that information or not. Okay, so we'll learn this thing tomorrow. We'll learn this thing tomorrow, and most probably tomorrow we'll have our last class for the HTTP, and after that we'll finish the HTTP. And make sure you go through all the notes, all the recordings, do the labs, right? Learn this thing, and before we end the like module, you have to successfully complete the assessment or assignment. Okay, so make sure you practice. Yeah, so let's ask some QA. So Sid and Garv, any question related to today's topic? That's a good question. So in curl we can simply add our own headers, right? Let's say if I want to send post method, not get method, right? So I can simply change in curl, but I cannot change in browser, because browser don't provide us that functionality. So for that, and similarly we cannot add every header, right? So if I want to add some headers, so I don't have this functionality in browser, but I can do it easily with my curl. So that is the reason. Did any question? Yes, we can do the same thing in a bird, but we have to know and we have to understand when to use what tool. So burp is a very heavy tool, right? Just to modify, just to play with request and response, it is not a good idea to use the burp. So we have some tools and we can use it, but definitely we can go with burp also. Any other question? Huh. Yes, definitely we can use curl command in mixture of other tools. Let's say I'm going to show uh, so this is my terminal and this is my request. I can simply add anything here. If I hit enter, it simply shows the actual result that I mentioned here. So I can use curl with this also. I can use curl in different ways. Is that clear? Any other question, any other doubt? One thing. So here we have some, let's keep and let's do the labs. Now here we have the key, I guess. So get parameter, we have the parameter, right? We found one parameter that send our search query to the server. When page use search function, it often sends the get parameter like search this and that. So we can see that get parameter using web dev tool is the points to get. Get requests are sent to receive the response or data in the URL. Basic authentication is managed by the web server and can be accessed using curl with credentials. Get parameter help retrieve search result or other data on the server. Got it? And let's do the lab, okay? So are you ready to do the lab? So here we have the lab. The exercise adverb seems to be broken as it returns incorrect result. Use the browser dev tool to see what is the request it is sending when we search, and use curl to search for flag, right? So you have to search for flag. You need to find the flag by searching it. So here we have the lab, right? So who wants to do it? Aryan or Sid? Not Aryan, Garv. Garv or Sid? Who wants to perform the lab? Yeah, please. Go ahead. We don't have added here. We have to understand how website actually sending request and response. And where is the flag? Do we get the flag? To use it? Yes, yes, sure. Get the flag. I think, okay, wait, let me, I think we are lab, so that's the reason. Wait, let me, now is it possible? Okay, got it. Yeah. So what you learn by sending or by getting the flag here? What did you learn? Perfect. So in this case, if I search flag, I search flag, it will not provide me the flag because the functionality is showing me the country name. It is not showing. In order to check the functionality of web application, what we have to do is we have to use the search functionality and we have to search it through curl. We can get the same thing. We can get the flags here. Other thing is, if we left click on it, we have copy or copy value option. We can copy as curl, copy as URL parameter. If we copy as a URL parameter, it simply means that the value we have. So this is what the value, right? So this is the parameter, search and tag. Got it? Now we have copy as fetch, copy request header, response header, copy response header, copy as h. So the important thing is copy as a parameter, copy as curl. If we copy as curl, you can see all the request headers are being added. So I have just copy as a curl. If I paste it here, you can see that what type of header we have. We have total all headers, right? And we can simply hit it, enter. But maybe it will not work because we have so many unwanted headers, right? So we have to remove all the headers and we have to make the request more neat and clean. Other thing is we can use fetch. So our browser provides a mechanism to send the request using a fetch. Fetch is a JavaScript function. We can use the fetch function to send the request. Now this is a fetch function. Let me paste it again. Is the copy value as fetch, copy it. Let me paste it over here. I get So network tab, let's the thing again. Add enter. So we have, and okay, where I have to type. Now let's do as a fetch. Now just look, this is a fetch request. So this is a fetch. Understand? Again, we got a flag, right? Okay, is my screen visible? So let's understand that this is a fetch API, fetch request. Here we have the URL, we have the search term, and here we have value, credential, and we have some headers here. These all are headers. Here we have the credentials headers, and here we have the search term. So what method we, and this is the mode, and we, here we have the search. You can simply search flag by using this. Let's try to do this. We hit enter. Will, if everything is right, will flag. Maybe it's take time. We can use this. Try to just wait for the. So you can try to replicate the same thing, and you can do the same thing to send the request using fetch. Okay, so we have the option in browser to send the request. We have option to modify it, right? You don't even need curl. You can do like this also, but curl is very lightweight tool and it is very handy. Got it? Now let's take a question. You can try this on, huh? It is taking long time. Yes, any question? Curve, sit, any question? So let's wrap up our today's class here. Okay, thank you everyone for joining the class.